Right guys, welcome back. So in the last video we looked at the spawn generator. We looked at randomly spawning in our hazard objects. Now what we're going to look at is we are going to look at how to actually add score when you get past the objects. Obviously, for every object you get past, you should get some score for it. That way you can keep track of a high score and see what's what. So this is quite simple really. What I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to drag in the prefab hazard, and I'm going to right click on it and select create empty, which makes a child of which makes that object a child. So I'm going to add a box collider 2D like we've done before, and I'm going to edit the size. This size may be different for you guys depending on what object you're using. Because I've got a sprite in here that I created, it's trying to do it to that. So I'm going to go for like 0.4 on the X, because what I want it to do is I want it to be slightly smaller. If I just knock the gizmos down so that the camera isn't as big, I want it to be slightly smaller than the hazard so that I will hit the hazard before I hit that if I go into it this way. And then on top of that, I'm going to hit it, I'm going to go for about 10. So as you can see, that's absolutely massive. But what this does is this means that no matter where this spawns, I'm going to hit the green box if I dodge the hazard. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select is trigger, because this is not something I want to bounce off. This is something I want to go into and trigger an action. I'm going to call this object the score trigger, so that I'm aware of what that is. And I'm also going to add a tag, which is score. Obviously I have to go back and actually assign the tag, like that. And then as you can see, my prefab down here hasn't changed, it hasn't got that object. And the reason is because I've edited this prefab, I need to click apply. And you can see from me doing this, I've now got this child object in there. So that's quite simple. We got this kind of set up. I'm going to delete that because, as I say, we're spawning them in anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the helicopter controller script we created. Reason for this is because that's where I'm going to save the score. So this is what we've got here. So at the top, I've obviously got stuff in here already. I'm going to add a public integer for score. Obviously we don't want to assign a number to score because it's going to start off at 0. So that's what we do in the start function. So we say score equals 0. And then after that, what we do is we do something very similar to what we've done here. So we are going to go into the onTriggerEnter function, and we're going to go if other dot compare tag equals score. You've got to make sure that that's spelled exactly the same way that you spelled it in the editor, or else it won't reference it. So we're saying, right, so if I hit that trigger box I just made and it's the score one, right, what am I going to do? So this is nice and easy because we're just going to say score equals score plus 1. We can't put score equals 1 because once you get to 1 it'll never go any higher. So we're going to say whatever the score amount is, that now equals the score amount plus 1. Right, so that is nice and simple. This should work fairly quickly, but the way we're going to have to play this, I'm going to drop the score manager down to 3 seconds so that it's really easy, so you can see this working. And I'm going to make sure I can see the score in there. Because we've not got any UI in here showing us the score yet, we need to watch that to see if it works. So I'm going to click play. And what we're looking for is the score under the helicopter controller to go to 1. There we go. It's 1. Now it's 2. And as you can see, that score system is now working. We can set this up to add score. If I'm right at the top, it will still add it simply because of how big we made that trigger box at the start of this video. So that's quite easy. We've got a score system working. I'm going to leave this video here. It's been quite a short video, like 5.5 minutes. Because in the next video, what I'll show you is I'll show you about how to position the UI and also how to make the UI work with the score. So we've got something on screen telling us what our score is. So yeah, in the next video, that's what we'll look at. But thanks a lot. Cheers.